Let's talk about imposter syndrome for a second, because I get asked about this a lot. So imposter syndrome is when you feel like you are undeserving of your achievements, you feel like you aren't capable, or like, oh, well, this isn't happening, this could never be me, right? You're constantly questioning, which is very, very common when people are on their, occult paths and trying to kind of move forward. They're constantly doubting themselves and their own capabilities. And I get asked constantly, well, how do I deal with it? How do I overcome imposter syndrome? You don't. It's always something that's going to be occurring, and it's always going to be something that you're dealing with in some capacity. Now, it will get easier as time passes, but it is quite literally something that will always be present. And I'm going to go ahead and say it. It should always be present to some degree. Let me tell you why. If you are not constantly questioning things and questioning your ability at least a little bit, it kind of raises the point that, maybe you've lost some discernment. And the argument is, oh, well, I'm confident in myself. I'm confident in my abilities. That's good. It is great to be confident. However, you always want to be somewhat cautious of what's going on. Is this really happening? Do I really deserve this? Because part of that is discernment. And discernment, of course, is being able to determine what is real, what is not, so on and so forth. So again, a little bit of questioning oneself and one's abilities, like, do I deserve this? Is this real? Is this really happening? Is healthy, because that is healthy discernment. It's when you veer over into, oh my God, this isn't real. This couldn't possibly be me. I would never deserve such a thing, that it's an unhealthy level of imposter syndrome, right? These are things that exist in balance. Just like if you completely remove any sort of doubt from the equation and you're just like, I'm fucking awesome. I'm confident. I know what I'm doing. Great. You can be confident in your practice, and you're going to confidently walk right the fuck into a landmine if you're not careful. Because that bleeds into ego, right? No questioning of self and no discernment leads into ego, which is the fastest way to get your shit rocked when dealing with the occult in any capacity. On the flip side, a little bit of ego is also healthy. Balance. I'm pretty fucking dope. I've come a long way. I'm a powerful individual. But is this really happening? Do I really deserve this? Right? You can balance all of these things. You can have all of these things and traverse forward on your path in a healthy fashion. It is when things start to tip like a scale to one side or the other that they start to get a little bit out of hand. I think one of the most common examples of this that I see on this app is that when people are overly confident, kind of bleeding into ego, and we've thrown all imposter syndrome to the wind because they can't possibly be wrong. This all has to be correct. How do I phrase this nicely? The people that you see sometimes that think their way is the highway and they're totally correct and they're this all-powerful this and that, and don't fuck with me. It translates to they think that they're better than other people. They put themselves on a pedestal, and most importantly, that they have nothing left to learn. Newsflash, if you're working in the occult, there's always something to learn. Because, and hear me out, your path is constantly changing. The practice is constantly changing. You are constantly changing. If you honestly and truly think that you have reached your peak and pinnacle and you're the best of the best and there's nothing left to learn, then you have failed. You have failed. That is arrogance. That is when ego devolves further into arrogance. To sum it up, there is a healthy balance of confidence, of confusion, of doubt, of concern. These are all okay and perfectly valid things to feel, but it is important to check yourself before you wreck yourself and acknowledge that you are powerful. You do have your own, your own power and your own right and way to do things, but not everybody is all powerful. Not everybody is super capable. Find your balance, mind your business, and know that your path is what it is meant to be. It's going to be fine. It's going to get easier, but imposter syndrome is healthy. It is normal.